This mother-in-law apparently lost a lot of money to a romantic scam, whatever that means. Maybe it's like a 90-day fiance type thing. This was posted pretty recently on February 26th, 2025. Mother-in-law lives in Laos, a developing country in Asia. I was born there too, but left when I was 10 months old. Mother-in-law had fallen victim to romance scams in the past, but only losing maybe 2 to 5K USD. And it says only, because that is a lot of money. But I'm assuming she loses more. We knew she had, in the past 6 months, fallen for another romance scam, but didn't think it was serious. My wife has, in the past 4 years, completely renovated her mother's house, new backyard, new additions to the house, even left her still relatively new car for her mother. My wife also sends her mom about $700 USD a month for expenses, the same amount she sends to her father, and he says it's more than enough. Mother-in-law is not cash rich, but has access to properties. We would then hear things like how mother-in-law is very frugal, lives like a destitute person. Mother-in-law would constantly be asking my wife for advances in her allowance. Then we would hear from others that mother-in-law told people that we have never sent her any money at all, not even $1. Well then, in an attempt to convince that person to lend her money. Now it makes sense. She needs money from other people, so she's telling people that you guys didn't send shit. Then we start getting calls from village elders and family members that mother-in-law is trying to pawn properties for loans, some successfully. She has no intention of paying these loans. For the papers we could get, they take the property after 6 months of backed payments. Mother-in-law thinks she will be living in the US by the time the loans are due, and her great lover will pay off all the loans. This is not a good plan. She's been able to pawn things that aren't even in her name. She has pawned in the past month jewelry, $10,000, 4-acre plot, $12,000. The real value is $50,000. Scooters, which are $1,000. Rental advance from a business property that she owns 1/6 of for $20,000. My wife's car, $3,000, but the real value is $15,000. The roughly $50K she received from the loans, she's already given away to the scammers. Come on, Mom. She has also attempted to sell, but were stopped by officials. Another 4-acre plot, $18,000. The real value is $100K. Her own house in the capital, right in the central business district, which is $100,000, and the real value being $500K. Her 1/6 plot for family business property, $50,000, real value $250,000. My wife's family is not used to confrontations. I think it's actually a cultural thing. So despite everyone knowing what needs to be done, no one is leading. So I guess I am. In 3 weeks, we will be landing in Laos. I will lead an intervention around 10 people, victim impact statements, etc. I got my sister-in-law and mother-in-law's ex-husband to talk to the officials to make sure the second farm plot, own house, and family business cannot be sold, as the village officials have to sign off on it. Oh my God, shit's really gonna hit the fan here. We will pay off the car loan and then sell the car. We cannot get back the plot of land without mother-in-law helping, as she has the loan papers, and these loan people are shysters. So unless mother-in-law is convinced that she has been scammed, the plot is gone. If mother-in-law comes to her senses, we will use the car money and put in our money funds to buy back the land. We stopped sending mother-in-law money last month. We pay her utility bills directly, and we pay sister-in-law to buy groceries to put in her fridge. The issue with the house that she's trying to sell is 2 of her daughters, and quite often 1 or 2 grandkids, also live there. Losing the house will not just affect the mother-in-law. We plan on taking her smartphone and replacing it with one of those brick Nokias. I am expecting the intervention to last 5 to 6 hours, also thinking of not letting her leave the house even for days or weeks until she gets it. If she doesn't wake up and realize what's happening and pawns the house she lives in, we will not help. I will not put up $130K for this batshit crazy lady and risk my own family's financial future. So this intervention, as serious as it may get, has to work, or we will be cutting mother-in-law completely from our life. I guess what I am asking is, for those who have successfully got their family members to realize they were scammed, what did it mean? How were you successful? What was the process like for someone this deep in? I fear I may not have any advice to help on this. Edit. My wife just approached me with a solution that her sister looked into. I think we're going to check mother-in-law into a mental health addiction clinic, and a hospital referred us to them. We have spoken with the police, who will take her to the clinic. Curious what people here think of this solution. I don't know. Maybe that is like plan B. If the intervention talk doesn't open her eyes, maybe that could be plan B. We do have an update, which came 1 month later. I never thought there would be a part 2 because I didn't think there would be a point, but here goes. So the first few days we arrived in Laos, my mother-in-law was nowhere to be seen. On day 3, we get one of her friends to ask her to meet up casually. She says she can't and that she's in another city for a funeral of a friend. We then figure out she is hiding out in her country farmhouse 1 hour away. So now it's harder to get a lot of people in my planned intervention. Still, 6 people pack a van, her brothers, her daughters, including my wife, and me, and we head out. We park and one of her daughters approaches the farmhouse. She calls out her mom, and her mom answers and tells us to go away. We surround the farmhouse and everything is locked. We keep telling her that we just want to talk, but we'll break down the doors if she doesn't unlock the doors. This is low-key a scene in a movie right now. Mother-in-law refuses to answer. There are 2 doors inside. One is boarded up and impossible to get through. The other, we use a crowbar to wedge over the door. We get through the lock, but this woman has also used coat hangers wrapped around the doorknob attached to something to keep us out. She's just a clever little thing. So now we spend 10 minutes getting through that. We go through the house and she's locked in the bedroom. So now we start to crowbar this door. As we do so, she's screaming that we're coming to kill her. Great. We get in and she's an absolute mess, hair all over the place, just general unkept. Her older brother tries to talk to her, really calm, like a good guy, being nice, calm. He gets a punch from her. She's also a heavy-set woman. It probably hurt a little, even if she is elderly. So I sit down and I totally think I got this. Right? I've seen some screenshots of her phone that people have managed to take and was able to piece together the possible story. So I lay it out to her. A common enough romance scam. Scammer sends her something, gets stuck at customs, she sends money, but it's still stuck. Then the story escalates to a scammer coming to visit her, then is arrested and needs bail. Now it's her fault and she needs to send money to bail him out. It's okay though. When he's out, he will pay whatever costs that incurred and they'll fly away to another country and live happily ever after. That's just sad that she actually fully believes that, because she might not be in a good mental health spot. You know what I mean? There could be other actual issues there. And so to her, this is very, very casual. It's gonna happen. It's very true. Maybe she can't think clearly. I spend 3 hours over logic and reason. Why can't this guy call the embassy if he's stuck? She doesn't say a word, but does look up at me when I talk. Finally, at hour 5, as everyone is tired and giving up, I give her a hug and she absolutely breaks. She starts crying, telling us that she believes us. Everyone hugs each other, which does not happen in this country. People are crying. I am like, yeah, I got this. She wants to spend another night at the farm though. I get that. She has lost someone. This lover that no longer exists and who never loved her. Need to grieve. I asked for her phone, but she doesn't want to give it to me that night. She will give it to me tomorrow, but promises to not contact the scammers. Everyone leaves. in good spirits. People seem happy and dinner is had. Next day, my mother-in-law returns. I see her for maybe 5 minutes. Everyone seems good. I decide to go the route of starting on the family recovery part. Then a few days later, go for the financial part. We are staying in a hotel, not with my mother-in-law. So the next day, a small family dinner is held. People are happy to have their mother back. 2 days later, at a bigger family dinner, mother-in-law seems happy and she agrees to talk about the financial part the next day. This whole time, I did not get that phone back from her. So I was focused on getting the family part back. Mistake. Oh no. At the table sits myself, mother-in-law, and her daughters. I start with a simple, "You still believe us and not the scammer Kevin, right?" She replies with, "I don't know what you're talking about. There was never Kevin." It's all making sense now. So yep, she's still talking to the scammer. Now everyone is pissed. One of her daughters throws photocopied text conversations between her and the scammer while yelling at her mom, "Oh yes, that's Kevin." I can't believe this stuff is happening. I try to keep everyone calm, but everyone is upset. What's crazy is that she seems to realize it's a scam, but at the same time, she believes the scammer. She might realize it's a scam, but she's like in love, you know? We asked for property titles so she can't pawn or sell things, and we can recover some things, but she only gives us partial actual documents or photocopies. Everyone is more pissed. She keeps denying having any loan papers, that the loan sharks kept them all. We don't believe it. She takes out her phone and starts to go through it to find one of her loan contacts. My wife decides this is it and lunges at her mother for the phone. My wife may be slim, but she's active at the gym, and of course I naturally have to go at it too. So now 3 people are wrestling over the phone, which we managed to take. My wife quickly goes over conversations from the scammer and loan sharks. My wife reads aloud the messages and confirms that it was the same scam story that we thought. At this point, everyone seems calm. Mother-in-law seems resigned to the fact that we now have her phone and we're going through it. The rest of the family is bewildered at how obviously fake the lies and images that the scammers sent to her were though, but no one is yelling at her. The scammer is apparently an American, head of medicine at some Boston hospital. Of course, why wouldn't a 40-something head of medicine want my elderly, nearly obese mother-in-law? But also, why would they need her money if they're head of medicine at a Boston hospital? At one point, my wife sees that mother-in-law asks the scammer why he didn't go to the embassy for help. The scammer said that there were no embassies from his country where he was being held. We question the mother-in-law, but she's not really talking much, but finally says he's in Germany. Everyone is still calm though. I show my mother-in-law that there is a US embassy in Germany, a half-dozen consulates, dozens of offices. She replied that she's going to have to let Kevin know about these options that he didn't know about. Mom is fully convinced, fully brainwashed here. I showed her that the plane tickets they sent to show he had a jet-set life didn't exist. The images were so ridiculously fake that anyone could Google and see why. A non-stop ticket from Kazakhstan to Tennessee on UA 134, everyone is still trying to convince her, and calm though. My wife scrolls to the loan sharks. Financially, we are mostly where we think we are, except she has managed to pawn the country farmhouse. We didn't think she could because her ex-husband is on the title and he did not agree to that. People are furious and I am tired of holding them back. They verbally lay it on her. We put down on paper what the debt is, and I don't think she flinched. We did when we totaled it. $70,000 for properties and items worth $350,000. We tried for 2 hours to talk some sense into her, but she is still fully committed to believing the scammers. There's just one property left that's not pawned, the one we're currently in. The one that only has her name, but is actually her ex-husband's childhood house. Everyone leaves frustrated. My wife and I tell her that she would never see us again. She asked for her phone back, but our reply wasn't very nice. My wife worries her mother is going to try to end her life, but she doesn't. Next day, we met up with the father-in-law, whom I always thought was a stand-up guy. Everyone thought he would be upset, but he was just disappointed. He goes on to explain that he removed his name from the house title in the capital because he didn't want his children or grandchildren to think he would try to kick them out in any way, as his ex-wife had repeatedly said it was something that he would do. He was in tears and said he just wanted good things for his family. We agreed to meet up again the next day to start a plan to get the police to arrest mother-in-law for selling the farm property that father-in-law did have his name on the title. Wife goes through the phone and we get an even clearer picture. Turns out those loan shysters weren't nearly as bad as we thought. Even the one that accepted a property as collateral, knowing the father-in-law wasn't involved. There were two main loaners. Each loan to them started typical enough for the two properties. But then mother-in-law started asking to see if they would take a loan for the house in the capital. Both said no, stated that they didn't want any of the properties, they just wanted the interest from the loans. They started questioning if she was being scammed, telling her to talk to her family. She kept telling them that she was fine. They kept insisting she gets her family involved. She said her family was why she didn't have anything and needed the loans. Well, that's a slap in the face to all of you who have been giving her money this whole time. We called the loan people. They seem amicable and actually concerned for mother-in-law. One only wanted the principal back. The other seemed willing to accept the principal and a month's interest instead of everything that's occurred. My wife asked me if I remember the jewelry gifts we got for our wedding. I replied that I didn't until she mentioned it now. Good. Then you won't miss them. Next day, my wife plans to pay the loan to get her car back. There's already a buyer. The sale of the car and the jewelry is enough to cover, not everything, but at least the two farm properties. I guess I shouldn't be annoyed at losing the jewelry. Definitely annoyed at mother-in-law though. Sure enough, midday, we get a text message from the scammer on my mother-in-law's phone, which we have, asking why he's getting texts from another number claiming to be my mother-in-law, and is that the new number to call? We throw a few curveballs at the scammer, but yep, mother-in-law had a backup phone, which explains why she wasn't wrestling us back for the phone and is re-talking to the scammers. Yay. 2 afters after this, my sister-in-law puts her phone up to show me and my wife a live scene from the security cameras at the house. So a lot of people in this country still believe in animalism and spirits, etc. Conversations go like this. Now, before we get to that conversation, I need a sip of water, and you probably do too. So cheers and drink some water. Sister-in-law. She's opening up all the windows in the house. My wife. That nasty bitch. Yep, she's got all of them opened. She's got some incense now. She's lighting them outside the house and waving them. Oh, F her, I am so out of her life. What kind of mother does that? Me, scratching my head. What's going on? She just wished all the evil in the world to come to you and your wife. Oh, wonderful. That's the end of the conversation. That's literally it. She put some kind of spirit hex on them. We got a mini update. This was the next day and it was in the comment section. Someone commented, I would not bail her out of her loans with your money. She'll just do it again with the same scammer or a different scammer. I would move on with your life and stay out of hers. OOP wrote back, the deed for the farm that has my father-in-law as well on it will be transferred entirely to my father-in-law. Apparently, this can be done without mother-in-law's consent as long as officials agree, and it looks like this will agree. Another farm that is entirely in mother-in-law's name will hopefully be transferred to my wife eventually, and she is the one who actually paid for it. But we need mother-in-law to agree. Seems she won't agree anytime soon. However, we actually get to keep the title from the loaner after the debt is paid. So she won't be able to pawn anything without the title. As for the house in the capital, father-in-law's childhood home, father-in-law, along with the entire family, will be meeting with officials to have the title changed to be only in father-in-law's name. Probably for the best. Plan is to get mother-in-law arrested and put away until she regains her senses. Can't believe it's come to that, but I don't see anything to get her to her senses. Apparently, she's throwing garbage all over the house, unplugging laundry if someone is using the machine, just making the lives of her daughters still there miserable. The whole time screaming at whoever is there that soon she will have everything and we will see that she's right. I had previously told the daughters to go easy on mom, but today I told them go at it if they want to. All right, so we have a final update that came 1.5 months later, and this was April 11th, 2025. I pushed for her to be arrested, but apparently in Laos, it's not that simple. You have to go to a village elder and they have to get the village police involved, and then an actual arrest can be made. I'm not sure if it really was this complicated or if the family just didn't have the appetite for it. Of all the things she had pawned, we were interested in resolving 4 items that were pawned or suspected to be: my wife's car, 2 farm plots, and the house in the capital. We paid $3,000 to get the car back, which included the loan and interest. We then sold the car. My wife also sold the wedding jewelry we received many years ago. This, together with the proceeds of the car, was enough for us to pay back the loan and interest for the 2 farm plots. The papers were all signed in front of village officials. We had no idea where the deed of the house in the capital was. Turns out the loan people had the deed all along. My mother-in-law was so desperate for the money that she offered to take $5,000 for a house worth $500K USD. Like, that's crazy. The loaner declined, but held on to the deed, which was given back to us. The laws in Laos don't make any sense to me, and I am not sure how we're able to do things that we did after. The first farm plot is 6 acres and co-owned by mother-in-law and ex-husband. Mother-in-law managed to pawn the property without her ex-husband knowing, so now we are going by the official judgment from their divorce. 1.5 acres will be given to mother-in-law, but title will be given to one of her daughters to hold. The second farm plot is 5 acres. It was 100% in mother-in-law's name, but was paid for and by my wife years ago. Title will now be transferred to my wife. As for the house in the capital, it is 100% in mother-in-law's name, even though it was my father-in-law's childhood home. How the hell does that make sense? This was because she had repeatedly accused him of in the future selling the house and leaving the grandkids with no place to go. Funny how it was actually the opposite. We're working on putting father-in-law back on the title while one of my wife's sisters holds on to the title. My wife used to give her mother a $500 to $600 monthly payment, but stopped a few months ago. She has told her sisters that she will still help pay for utilities and put groceries in her mother's fridge. Wife's niece and nephews also use the house. We have to pay utilities directly now, as the lights were just turned off recently because mother-in-law didn't pay utilities for 4 months. However, we have cut off all contact with mother-in-law. She won't see our son again either, and she has numerous photos of him in her house. We knew she had promised the scammers to get him money in April, so we tried to get ahead of that. She traveled to Thailand to ask some relatives for money, but we told them ahead of time not to give any money. In the end, she begged them for bags of rice to take home, which they gave. She also recently went to visit her son to ask him for money. He wasn't home, so she asked for $5 from her daughter-in-law's mother. She's going to several friends, asking for financial help, telling them that her kids abandoned her. So now we have to call all those people and tell them that mother-in-law has been scammed. But we still put food in her fridge. Mother-in-law still believes the scammers. She wants to desperately believe that she did not give the scammers our final tally of $70,000. She really wants to believe her lover is real. She has nothing left to pawn now since we have all the documents. I can only hope that within 6 months, the scammers will stop talking to her once they realize she has nothing left and maybe she will come to her senses. It has been exhausting, but I am glad we were able to get all 3 property titles back, so at least mother-in-law and niece and nephews don't end up on the street. My wife used to fly back to Laos once a year, sometimes twice. She's made it very clear she won't be going back for a while, and I don't blame her. Want to know what this reminds me of? If you guys haven't seen the documentary on Netflix, it's called, instead of Con Man, it's Con Mum, and it's on Netflix. It's new, and it's very much similar to this. It's a crazy story. But also, let me know what you think about this in the comments. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. Bye.